Welcome back to Alpha Recap. Glad you could join us after the close. Today we're walking through the headlines that shaped the session. And as always, if you have questions, you can reach us at stockalpha.ai.
Great to be here. Big day. Lots of governance moves, some AI buzz, and even franchisors getting in on the action. Ready to dig in?
Absolutely. Let's start with a headline that can change how companies allocate capital. Bank of America filed a definitive proxy disclosure on March 23rd, and that was a meaningful governance signal today.
Right, proxy season stuff. It's dry on the surface, but it often presages activist engagement or compensation debates that actually move markets. Analysts were definitely passing that filing today.
Quick explanation for listeners. A definitive proxy, or DEF 14A, lays out what shareholders will vote on at the annual meeting. Board elections, executive pay, shareholder proposals, that sort of thing.
And why it mattered in the market today, because investors and governance teams use those filings to infer potential changes to dividends, buybacks, or even M&A posture. So the mere filing can shift sentiment.
Exactly. What I was watching was the timeline they published and any supplemental materials. Those are the things that tell you whether an activist might be lining up support.
And when you step back and look at this, it's part of a broader governance season rhythm. A lot of companies will pop similar filings in the weeks ahead.
Switching gears, media and advertising. Goldman Sachs reiterated its call on Fox, citing ad market momentum as the key driver behind the note.
Ad demand remains the main lever for broadcasters and streaming-adjacent businesses. If ad spend picks up, revenue can accelerate pretty quickly for those names.
Caveat: the reiteration didn't include a fresh price target or a new model, so it was more a signal of confidence than a new quantitative call.
Right. And the market reacted to the theme rather than a hard number. Ad trends tend to show up in quarterly disclosures and can change guidance fast.
Onto a technology item that really grabbed attention. Red Cloud said its RAID engine outperformed industry accuracy benchmarks on 3.7 million live, fast-moving consumer goods transactions.
3.7 million live transactions. That's a pretty big validation if you believe the numbers.
Yes, the claim was that RAID could act as a decisioning layer that might supplant legacy systems of record. If that plays out, it could shift where companies spend their ERP and supply chain budgets.
I mean, when you step back and look at this, validation on live transactions is useful, but the headline lacked commercialization details. No contract values, no timelines. So adoption risk is still front and center.
Good point. Technical validation is necessary, but not sufficient. Integration complexity and monetization paths are the next hurdles. Those are what turn a technical win into revenue.
And to add to that, conference visibility matters. Which brings us to RSAC. Cyber Defense magazine announced the Global InfoSec Awards at the conference, and award winners often see accelerated attention.
Awards at RSAC can be genuine catalysts. If a company wins and then follows up with customer wins or contract expansions, analysts will often call that a conversion of visibility into revenue.
So we had two adjacent themes today: conference recognition plus real-world AI validation. When vendors have both, buyers pay attention faster.
But remember the missing piece: follow-on disclosures. Awards and test results are interesting, but public companies need to show deployments or contract values before analysts will update revenue estimates.
Quick reaction. Nice combo.
Let's cover a smaller but practical item. ISX Financial EU plc changed its name to Zryma plc effective March 23rd. That's a rebrand, and it affects registries and counterparties immediately.
Rebrands are usually housekeeping, unless they're accompanied by capital structure changes or strategic shifts. For now, treat it as a name change until further filings say otherwise.
Good reminder. Update watch lists and regulatory checks for the new name, and keep an eye on any follow-up notices from exchanges or regulators.
We should also flag a small cap move that stood out. One penny stock name plunged about 3.5% to 3 cents on very heavy volume. Roughly 157 million shares exchanged hands.
High turnover in tiny names increases execution risk and slippage. Traders should watch for any SEC filings or company announcements explaining that volume spike.
Short reaction, watch the filings.
Moving to consumer services and franchising. Image Studios reached 135 locations and said it will accelerate expansion in 2026. And My Salon Suite planned to showcase franchise growth at a multi-unit franchising conference.
Franchisors leaning into multi-unit deals and conference-driven recruitment suggests a near-term acceleration in openings, which, if conversions happen, feeds recurring royalty and franchise fee revenue.
But analysts caution that the quality of franchisee recruitment, unit economics, and ongoing royalty conversion rates matter far more than headline location counts. 135 sites is a number, not a promise of sustainable revenue.
Right. A developer signing up a dozen locations is not the same as a dozen opened and profitable units. Execution is everything in franchising.
On corporate expansion, Advanced Computing International marked its 20th anniversary by opening 6 new offices across 3 continents and signaled interest in strategic acquisitions.
Expansion can improve pipeline and local sales reach, but it also pressures near-term margins because of integration and setup costs. So investors often look for the balance between growth and margin dilution.
A sectoral note we shouldn't forget. Swipes highlighted mobile phones as an infection control gap in healthcare settings, citing CDC data and a meta-analysis. If facilities change procurement policies, demand for disinfection solutions could increase.
That one is more of a signal than a disclosed revenue event, but worth watching for procurement-led spikes in vendor demand.
Quick reactions. Small signals can compound. Yeah, that tracks.
Let's run through the quick hits so listeners have a tidy checklist. CDM awards at RSAC, watch for vendor follow-ups. ISX rebrand to Sarima, update registries. Goldman Sachs reiterated Fox, monitor ad revenue. Bank of America proxy filing, read the DEF 14A.
And AdRegCloud's RAID validation. Look for commercialization signals like customer deployments or partner integrations that turn accuracy claims into revenue.
Also track that small cap volume spike. Filings or company statements can explain big moves like that.
Emerging patterns from today's flow to keep in mind. 1. Real-world AI validation plus conference recognition creates a stronger sales narrative. 2. Franchisors are leaning on in-person recruitment to build pipelines. 3. Governance season is active. And 4. Ad market chatter remains a primary cyclical barometer.
Those are good, crisp themes. Analysts will be watching next quarter guidance and management commentary to see whether these narratives actually show up in the numbers.
Before we wrap, a few specific things to watch tomorrow. Read the full Bank of America DEF 14A and any activist or analyst commentary. Follow RSAC winners for press releases. Monitor Fox for ad commentary. And watch RedCloud for commercialization updates.
And keep an eye on Sarima in regulatory registries to confirm any listing or ticker continuity. Plus, check for SEC filings on that penny stock volume spike we mentioned.
Takeaways for listeners. Governance filings matter even if they seem dull. They can change capital allocation. Conference awards and real-world tests can boost vendor visibility, but follow-on contracts are what really count. And ad market momentum remains a central cyclical story for media names.
Key reminder: headlines alone rarely prove durable. Analysts note that you want to watch for follow-on disclosures and management commentary before assuming a trend.
Final practical tip. If you track these companies, set alerts for filings and press releases. The story often unfolds in the details that come after the headline.
Okay, short reactions. Thanks for listening. Nice rundown. Catch you tomorrow.
If you have questions about anything we covered today, head to stockalpha.ai, where you can ask us directly and we'll answer live. For more market analysis and insights, visit stockalpha.ai.
And as always, this is informational only. We're summarizing filings and analyst notes, not giving personalized investment advice. See you next time on Alpha Recap.